Hey guys, it's Shan, and I just wanted to bring you up to speed on where we are in our discussions and plans for reopening. On Monday, Governor Baker announced his reopening plan and the 4 phases of it, and I was really surprised to learn that churches were in the first phase. And that with that came a whole bunch of regulations, requirements, best practices, and protocols that we have to follow. Here are just a few of them that we have to abide by in order to gather again. Our seating capacity is limited to 40%, and for us, that means about 90 people, and that's everyone, from the smallest child to the oldest adult, everybody on stage, in the booth, etc. Families can sit together. People in the same household can sit together. But if you're not the same family or the same household, you have to sit at least 6 feet apart. Our student, children, and nursery ministries are not allowed to be functioning in this phase. Everyone needs to wear a mask or a face covering. It's required when you're entering, when you're inside, and when you're exiting the building. And that's everyone, staff included. Children between the ages of 2 to 5 can wear the mask or face covering at the discretion of a parent. Those children under 2 should not be wearing a mask or face covering. One-way arrows are supposed to be on the floor to direct people where they can sit, and if there aren't arrows on the floor, then there are supposed to be people guiding those attending to where they can sit. At the end of the service, those that are present are to be dismissed in a section by section or row by row fashion, and there's no coffee or refreshments. And before or after the service, gatherings of large groups to visit or to chat with one another, that is not allowed. Now, when I say those things to you, what does that sound like? When I read them for the first time, it doesn't sound like church to me at all. We'd actually be working harder to keep people apart than we ever would need to work in order to bring people together. And this is not just us. This is churches across the country. People I'm speaking to, pastors, preachers, ministers everywhere are struggling with this. And it's not just the requirements. It's also the fact that there are still a whole bunch of people who are really nervous about gathering together. On average, most churches have less than 50% attendance. It's more around the mark between 30 and 40%. That's who's coming. There are more than a few people that think that everyone should be wearing a mask when they come together. And there are just as many who think that they don't need to wear a mask. So how do we manage that? If people come and they're not wearing a mask, do we tell them that they need to? Do we give them a mask? If we give them a mask and they don't wear it, do we ask them to leave? How's that all going to work? I just don't want to place our people in those kinds of circumstances. As I said, children's and nursery programs are not allowed. So here's the question. How many of you have ever taught a toddler how to social distance? Anybody ever done that? Yeah, I didn't think so. For the last 10 weeks, when John's been on stage, he's been performing without a mask. When Trey and I have spoken, we've done so without a mask. But under these requirements, we would now be wearing masks when speaking or performing. The bottom line is we would only be opening the building to say our building is open. We're still doing church, but we're just not doing it in the building. Now we'd be doing it just to say that our building is opening. And after a long discussion, we just believe that it's not worth it to have services in the building right away. The first reason to return is to worship together. But I've already described to you what worship would look like under those kinds of circumstances. The second biggest reason to return is to be together, but gathering for any purpose or time other than the service itself is not allowed. And as I said, we'd be working harder to keep people apart than to bring them together. What we are planning, however, for the next few weeks is for people to begin to integrate little by little to meet with others when they're comfortable to watch the service together. In the beginning, maybe it's just 2 people or maybe 4 gathering together, one family with another. Some of you haven't seen family members that live close by for quite some time. Maybe you could invite your family over for a meal and then watch the service together. Our plan for this brief transition time is to recommend the option for people to meet together in a place that each family or person is comfortable with and in the numbers that they are comfortable with. For some, as I said, it will be a small number, 2, 3. For others, it may be a couple of families getting together. The next few weeks of getting back with people that you haven't been with will be slow, but it'll allow people to get comfortable in gathering in groups again, instead of just coming to church and being in a group of 60 or 70 or 90 people. And if we wait just a few more weeks to open the building, we may at least be able to operate the nursery. With that said, we still recommend that those who are elderly or those who have pre-existing medical conditions stay at home. And certainly those who are sick, feeling sick, stay at home. We want to incrementally reintegrate our people and our ministries whereby we step up the number of ways we physically get together. And notwithstanding our goal, it's critically important to know that how, when, and where we all get together will be based upon the comfortability of each person and each family. Encouraging our folks to see people from church that they haven't seen in months is actually going to be a really easy thing to do. Maybe it's the same thing that we've been doing, guys. It really is. It's not going to be anything different. We'll just be doing it with a couple more people in our living room or in our backyard. And everybody's going to be watching the same service. And as I said, it's going to be a whole lot easier than suddenly walking into a building with 90 people that are there and then telling those 90 people that they're not supposed to visit with one another and they're not supposed to talk with each other. I imagine this is not what you were hoping to hear. But I want to encourage you to take advantage of this time. Let this be a time where you do invite your friend to come, where you do get together with a couple people that you've been wanting to see for quite some time. Maybe someone at church that you just really have missed seeing. Get together. And because the service is recorded, it doesn't just have to be at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It can be Monday afternoon or Wednesday night. You could gather anytime you want and share a meal together, and then you could watch the service together. You can do that anytime you want by accessing our website. Again, I know it may be frustrating in this short period of time, but the easiest thing to do right now is to do what we've already been doing for the last 2 or 3 months with just 1 or 2 more people. The hardest thing to do would be to bring people together and then tell them they have to stay apart. So let's ease back into being together by gathering in ways we're comfortable with, in small numbers in our homes or maybe the backyard. Invite a friend to watch the service with you, because it's not about meeting in a building. It's about meeting people where they already are. Thank you so much for understanding. Thank you so much for being so helpful during this time, and I'll see you soon.